be tuning this gorgeous EBP SI, one of my favorite, kind of a classic car, near and dear to my heart. This car is brought by our good friend Max over at DreamWorks Motorsports. He always brings me really nice, clean cars, well set up. This one is a stock bottom end, K24, K20 head, valve springs and retainers, big alpha injection injectors, 2200cc, Hellcat fuel pump, ethanol, of course. And so our main restriction will be that stock bottom end. I'll talk a little bit about how I deal with that, ignition timing and whatnot, but let's get to it.
So 340, 309.
And then, yeah, we got to the first VTEC crossover right there, and I stopped right after it. I wanted to be able to review the log of what's going on. Okay, so we're on a good path right now. We had a couple little speed bumps to start with there. It looked like the car was running really lean according to the wideband that was in it, and I was adding fuel into the tune, and I wasn't seeing it on that wideband. So we swapped in my shop wideband right now, and I actually was still seeing that the car was going lean, not in the way that it was kind of erratically doing so on the other unit. But so then we started looking at the fuel setup. We did add a vacuum line to the fuel pressure regulator. You can get away without it, but high boost, this kind of setup, I want that on there. And that stabilized the fuel pressure a lot. It was kind of bouncing around, and now it's nice and stable. You'll drop fuel pressure, without that hooked up. So then you'll have to put in a ton of extra duty cycle in the tune, and it kind of changes the fundamental shape where it has to be a lot steeper. So anyways, everything seems to be working good. We've got a crack into VTEC. Car is a little bit lean there as I started to move up in VTEC, so I stopped that run. I'm going to add some fuel in and maybe check a spark plug here in a minute, but everything's looking pretty nice, and add the fuel in and see how the next run goes. Okay, I'm looking at two things here. One thing is the ignition timing. I got a blip right here right after we hit VTEC, so I need to look at that before and after VTEC and make sure those are about the same value. The more important thing, and the reason I'm stopped the run, was because it started to go a bit leaner than what I wanted to see in VTEC. You can see this raw injector pulse width line here. It's climbing, and then it kind of flattens a little bit and then starts to climb again. But I know from experience that in VTEC, this pulse width is going to need to steepen here rather than relax like it's doing right now.
What did that do there?
472. I'm kind of chickening out, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to increase the length of the dyno run because it was kind of...
Pretty quick.
It was kind of ferocious right there.
It just keeps going up.
We haven't touched the boost. We have a boost controller.
Yeah.
That was like 13 pounds right now.
That's good.
I got up to like 75% throttle on that run.
It seemed a lot smoother too with the length of time in the dyno.
Yeah,
run.
the dyno run needed to be lengthened. It was too short a minute ago before that. Do a sanity check. Oh, duty cycle currently 42% on the injectors. Nice and low on the 20, I think they're 2200 cc Alpha Injection Clinic. They seem to be working very nicely. All right, we've continued up in the horsepower. I made it to about 75% throttle now. 480 wheel horsepower and about 13 pounds of boost right now. But we have a little bit of a depression in the dyno plot in the mid-range. A little dip there. So I was looking at the log file to see why we have that, and I can see it right here, if you want to come in. The cam angle on the factory VTC, it starts retarding the cam angle as you approach the VTEC crossover. Now with boost, we actually can support that cam angle extended out. So instead of having the cam angle retard right here before the VTEC crossover, I need to hold it out, and then it returns to a very similar number once it's in VTEC. So I need to smooth this VTC during the crossover into VTEC, and then I should be rewarded with a dyno plot that doesn't have that dip in the middle there. Let's see what the plot looks like.
Yeah, but I'm sure the plot looks a lot better.
There's the old plot, and here comes new plot. Click. All right, so it filled in a little bit, not as much as I'd like.
So maybe a little more.
I need to add maybe more cam timing, and then also VTEC crossover maybe needs to get moved a little bit as well. Okay, so here's the new data log. We still have a dip in cam timing. It's not nearly as big, but it's still there. So I need to take this 25 that we're at and extend that out all the way out in the RPM because it drops down to 21, 22, and we see that dip on the dyno. They're at 21 now. All right, well, on that last run, I heard a little bit of spark blowout right in the high end. So we pulled the plugs out, wanted to check a plug anyways. It looks good. I have some timing I can add to it. The gap was a little bit big for what boost level we're running right now, so we gapped them down to about 22 thousandths, and we're gonna rerun. Established like the cam angles I'm going to be using, the ignition timing, and we've just got a little bit left to do. I'm going to take this moment and go in. I know where peak torque is occurring now, 5,700 RPMs repeatedly, so I'm going to go into the ignition timing maps, especially in the kind of high load, low RPM area. I'm going to remove some timing, and then I'm also going to pay special attention to the 5,700 RPM area since I know that's where the car is making peak torque, and it's going to be the most sensitive area. And so just a little extra care to try to keep the stock block together. All right, we hit our 500. Let's see what the actual dyno plot shape looks like right here. If I said I don't feel massively satisfied right now. All right, all done with Max's SI. Ended up at 500 wheel horsepower, 413 foot-pounds of torque. Beautiful dyno plot to go with it. Moving that VTEC crossover down at the end really filled in the torque, made a bunch more horsepower, makes power all the way out to the 8,200 limiter, and I am excited to go see what this feels like on the street. That's it. See you next time.